All right, YouTube, we're back. So for part two of Main Road Gun Club Winter War 4, day two, Sunday, March 1st. This would be the two-gun match, generally following PCSL rules. I don't think the targets were PCSL certified, but we'll talk some of that later. So I did have my head camera on this, and up front I did DQ on the very last stage of this match, which made it an awesome drive home. We've got another video out on that DQ. I'll go ahead and do the whole do that stage video here or what I have of it as well. Excuse me. But unlike Saturday, I had my hat camera, so most of this is hat camera, two stages, including the DQ. I got both used, third person and first person. So I was in squad one this time, so squad one, stage one, which was again the shoot off stage. Excuse me. Yeah. So let's get going with the shoot off. Vegas, do you want to come talk? Vegas wants me to throw the ball. We have a dog named Vegas. Talk to my wife. Okay, shoot off. So match was supposed to start 7:45, 7:30, 7:45. We were fog delayed everywhere, even up on the hill. So we were up on the hill, and you kind of go downhill to stage 6. They were really bad and had to pull some targets in down there. So we didn't get going until like 8:30 in the morning, and I think the guys down on stage 6 were even later. So everybody was tired. Eyes were still red. All right, so here we go. So Gary of the day here on my squad, we had a gentleman that was concerned about DQing because this was a 180 start. All right, so you started facing up range, wrists above shoulders, and then you turn and draw and shoot. And he's like, oh, if I do that, I'm going to DQ. There's no way to do that DQing. It's a standard USPSA start position. Come on, three gunners. You make yourself look bad. And he's a good shooter, right? He's a solid guy, or solid shooter at least. All right, so stage one, shoot off stage. What they did different here was instead of just doing one half or the other half, you shot both sides of pistol and both sides of rifle. So the round count was ridiculous. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. All right, so there we go. Start, turn, 16, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, 16 pistol targets. Dump pistol in bucket of your choice and grab rifle, and then 2 50-yard rifle racks. Much better rifle work today than I had, or Sunday morning than I had Saturday. Obviously, it's the first stage of the day, everything's fresh, but yeah, definitely a skill I wish I had somewhere to practice. I would probably sit there and just pound away at 50-yard plate racks with a rifle. Figure out what magnification, what lighting, body position. I did much better the second day on body position. First day, I found myself bladed behind the rifle a lot. So made sure I was squared up behind the rifle, and the second day went a lot better. I have no idea how I did in the match. Well, I know I did. I got last because I DQ'd. I had no idea how I would have done. I think I would have done okay. But yeah, awesome DQs. All right, so that was stage one, shoot off stage. Stage two went across the parking lot. This one was you started in the front with your pistol, fought your way back, grabbed your rifle, shot some longish range targets, and then fought your way back up front with the rifle. All right, so here we go. Starting with a double spinner on pistol. Felt like I shot this fairly decent. I saw 1, 2, 3 makeups on that. Decent, little with retreat. So the kind of the cool thing was you could hit a spot and be within a step of seeing everything here, which did much better this day. That mover was just slow. Same thing here. Retreat back. Find your spot. 2, 4, 5. DQ chance there to dump. So here you had the 3 plate KYL, and then you had 5 targets up top. You still had the A zones, and they replaced the big square with a circle, a 12-inch circle probably. This is where I say the PCSL one, the cardboard was obviously isn't PCSL cardboard, and 2 PCSL targets are supposed to be 8 MOA. I think the A zone on an A zone steel was only 6 inches wide, so I don't think they were quite regulation steel, but I also don't think they were that hard. Shooting this without a bag was definitely harder, right? Shooting off this tree without a bag was definitely harder. And then coming out of this, you had 7 rifle paper, and if you just turn right, you could see 4 of the rifle paper. I felt like I might have hit the pole on one of those, so I shot again. Then you can run all the way to the front. Don't forget that little guy. Little trigger freeze. I've been having issues with that. I don't know how to fix it except to go shoot doubles, which just burns a lot of ammo. Yeah, so decent run there, clean run. I was having a clean day. Really frustrated about this DQ. Right, so that was stage 2. Stage 3, again, was this back and forth, but instead of the back and forth, you started 40 yards back, 40 yards to the berm, and you had 2 white rifle targets. I really wanted to run my PCC on this stage. This would have been a great stage for PCC, but I've never shot it beyond. I've got less than 1,000 rounds on the PCC. I just don't know how accurate it is at 40 yards. Those steel were at 40 yards. I lased them. I'm sure it would have been fine, but I just didn't have the confidence in it. So I shot this with the rifle. And I'm a believer that stage plans are about confidence, right? Yes, it cost me a little bit of time. The rifle's just a hair slower going through that main optic than going through just a red dot on a PCC, but it's also much more accurate in my opinion. Then there was a lot of pistol. So they still had the throw and clays up. They were a 5-second bonus. It wasn't a minute. If you hit it, it's minus 5 seconds. So I shot at that one. Did not, we'll show you at the end here, did not shoot the second one. A lot of really small pistol steel in this. Really small, tough pistol shots. And then this Polish plate rack here, no way to do it except just to activate it on the spot and shoot it. And then this one here, I saw someone else do it and just shoot it, and then didn't even mess with the last flying clay. It took it a half second or so to come out. You're adding 2 seconds for maybe a -3. So the reality is it's maybe a -1 second. Not worth it to add 2 seconds to your time. Or to remove 3 seconds from your time. All right, so that was stage 3. Fun stage. Shout out to Chris. So one thing they did, and Chris asked me this at the end of the day. Didn't move any walls, didn't move anything, just moved targets around, but they did a good enough job that you could not use the same stage plan for, you couldn't just come and repeat the stage plan. So that was a really good job of a reset overnight. And again, only one minor issue is you couldn't walk stages, but if you shot the day prior, none of these were that hard. That they were similar enough that you knew where to go, and the stage plans were kind of there. All right, so hang on. So stage 4, I got to shoot twice. These had 2 disappearing swingers. So I'm going to try to put 2 third-person videos next to each other and see how I would have done. Maybe I'll do a different separate video. But bottom line is I was almost done with the first run, and I hit a swinger activator, and the swinger hadn't been reset. So I got a reshoot, which was really good because the first run was kind of trash. This crappy thing is I went to war with they have a drop tree in this stage, and some people don't like drop trees. You'll see it get stuck, and the rule at this range is if the drop tree gets stuck behind it, that's your problem because you didn't hit it good enough, and so you have to bang away at the pole to shake the drop tree loose. And I'll talk it when I get to it, but I made a mental mistake on the good old drop tree here. All right, so, and I do have third person and first person of this one. So, and I went with the slow stage plan here, and I was still within 5 seconds of the guys on my squad that shot the fast stage plan. So I was pretty happy with that. I shot this in 71 seconds. I think the fastest time on our stage was 60, or our squad was 65. And those were some faster shooters. So I was good with my performance here. Messed up a reload there. That drop tree is like a 6-inch. They have a really small plate. There, it gets stuck. That's why I yelled at it, because so right now you can see a little bit of it, and I kept just trying to shake it loose. It was what it was. Last reload, those steel were nice and big. Hit the move, so that's going to be a rifle. So those little steel are like 3-4 inches. They're not big. Hot holster to go to PCC. The JP, I'm loving that little thing. I see why people call it a cheat code. This is probably the most aggressive rifle long gun sequence I've ever shot. Really proud of myself for that little part right there. Had to wait a little bit on that. So I did a makeup shot there. It was super fast, but I didn't need to do it. It ended up, you can see the targets have writing at the bottom. Happening all day that rounds were hitting in there and you can't pick it up. You didn't know you had a hit. Obviously, if you're calling shots, you don't need it, but it's as you're coming off target, something like that, you might, the brain might be a little bit behind your body. So I didn't have to make that up. I had my second shot was down the writing, but I couldn't see it, so it cost me maybe half second. Not a big deal in the grand scheme of my game of a 71-second run, right? But it's also my second run at it, so fun stage. All right. So from there, we went back to stage 5. There it is. I did not shoot stage 5 particularly well. A lot of people were timing out on this. Rifle spinner at 100 yards with no bags is not impossible, but not easy. The other thing I messed up this day is when I came home, I did a refit. I grabbed another can of pistol ammo and kind of emptied out. I had 2 cans that had a couple hundred rounds left and kind of emptied them out. So those 2 cans are now empty. I grabbed my PCC ammo, and then I forgot to grab another 100 rounds of long range ammo. And I saved all my long range ammo for the last stage because they were supposed to have 200 targets. My burner ammo is, my pistol spinner, my rifle ammo is zeroed, my burner ammo is 4 inches up and right. So it's kind of and it's not, it's not 1.5 inches. It's pretty wild. So rifle spinners are spicy with that. Again, this is one, they did a really good job of resetting it, making it really fun. For whatever reason, those targets were different today. I don't know, I couldn't hit the same groove on them today. And this little guy back in the woods was a lot further away. So this one was about 80. That one was probably 120. That one was long and spicy, and people were dumping, myself included, were dumping some ammo at it. And then a brain fart here. Instead of just safing and dumping, I did a bunch of other stuff. Had to go back to rifle. This was a lot. You had 16 rounds of rifle before you start engaging 4 static steel and the spinner. I should put this over here so I'm not looking off the side. That's my bad side anyway. Didn't shoot this particularly well either. Again, because of the hold, I was kind of holding down and right of everything. On this stage, the earlier stages, I was able to hold center and hit. So, again, my fault. I forgot my good ammo. This spinner, I got out of time on it. So you'll see here at the end, I just went to just hit the bottom and just make sure I was getting hit every trigger pull. It's a slower way to spin a spinner, but when it's a lighter spinner like this, you can spin it that way. Some heavier spinners, the one I had shot last month in Florida, would not have spun just doing single hits on the bottom. It would have taken 2 minutes to spin the darn thing. And that was the last round in the magazine. So it was good. All right, last stage here, DQ stage. Interesting stage. So the stage was you started with either rifle or pistol loaded. There's a table in the center that was a rifle shooting position. You had to start with the other gun there unloaded. So it kind of, they wanted you to have to go prone and get back up. One Mike Perez shot it where he finished prone, and Mike's a good shooter, so he shot it. It was a decent time, but it was not the winning stage plan. It was a don't lose stage plan. Yeah, not that it was an interesting stage design. It was one of those where there's no good way to shoot it. but it was still a fun match, still a fun stage to shoot. Unless you DQ on it, then you get sad. So I opted to start with rifle, and we'll go from here. All right. 2 paper, another paper, had one more port with 1 paper. That little guy you could pick up, that dump barrel was kind of in the way. And then now they had dropped it to 5 steel targets. And they had, like, because of the fog in the morning, they had pulled them forward to about 100 yards. So nothing was bad. They had screwed that wall into the table, so it was actually super sturdy. I was going to go off the table, but that wall was super stable. And then you went prone. No bags or bipods in PCSL multi-gun, so you're monopodding off your magazine, which is not my favorite at A-zone steel at 100 yards. And just the slope of the ground there, hard to tell from the hat camera, but some of those were right above. People were with higher mounts and higher offsets were putting rounds into the ground in between there, so it was what it was. All right. This was kind of, I didn't see this during the walkthrough. I modified my plan that you can see those 2. They really like long range static steel at these matches. All right, you had another one here, and then gun went off. And I've got another video out there on that. I don't want to beat a dead horse. First time I ever had an ND in a match. Stuff happens. Not my favorite. I still don't know if it was me or the gun. But yeah, not the way you want to end your match. So yeah, so thoughts overall on the weekend. Like I said, I think I shoot there locally. I consider those guys, shooting buddies, friends. We'll text and message back and forth throughout the month. They'll talk crap on me for posting dry fire videos because they're like, oh, we practice. I don't have a facility like that to go practice at. Those guys can go out there and do some really cool practice stuff that I can't do at my local ranges. But yeah, I like to, if I'm shooting PCSL 2-gun, that's where I'm shooting it. If Lance runs a 3-gun match out there, I go shoot the 3-gun match. And then, so yeah, I've done some other, I guess I've done out there 2-gun, 3-gun. I haven't shot any single gun stuff out there. They do a bunch of stuff out there. Really good group of guys. They do volunteer hours. There were 8 or 10 people, club members working that didn't shoot the match, didn't shoot staff. They're just, getting their volunteer hours in, come out working. It was awesome. They had a trailer to take you. It kind of snaked down through, and you got on the trailer and went back up to the top from 6 to 1. So that was really good because you couldn't really drive through it. It was a cart match. Only knocks are just, stage design preference, right? I know Lance, and I figured out how Lance designs stages. Lance would never let us go wrong because Lance doesn't want to get up off the ground, right? So Lance designs stages to shoot the way he likes to shoot. He's really pretty good with a pistol, so he likes those long pistol steel that he knows he can one shot, and people like me will take 3 or 4 shots on. He can practice on those spinners, so he likes those spinners. A 3-gun stage with 4 spinners at a local, mini major, but a local match, that's a pretty good stage, right? So 2 rifle spinners and 2 shotgun spinners. Lance also he views all of these matches as getting ready for Memorial. Memorial is the pinnacle of his season. So everything he does is to train for Memorial. So he's tried to bring the Zoo City flavor into his own matches. He does a pretty good job at it. Hidden targets, options, okay stage plans, but not best stage plans, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I thought it was a positive match. And I told Chris kind of was the overall guy. I think Chris is taking over. That's what they said from now on to be running this next year, the whole weekend. I personally thought the shoot-offs were too much, even for the folks that were getting there, right? So they wanted us there at between 6:30, 6:45 in the morning. The shoot-offs didn't start till 6, and then so I think they got out of there like 7:38. So I mean that's a 13 and a half, 14-hour day on the range, and then come back and do it again the next day. That's a lot of hours, right? And then their poor staff guys that shot Friday in the mud and the pouring rain, 3 days of that, they were smoked. Some of the staff guys they were just smoked on Sunday night. So it was a long weekend. I was tired today. Luckily or not luckily, I am now officially retired from the Army, so I don't have a job yet. So ran some errands and worked out, and took a nap with the dogs this afternoon. So I had a good day. But no, this is a fun match. So to compare to Florida multi-gun, very different flavors, right? Doesn't have all the cool props, doesn't have all the cool stuff, but has much more I would say much more technical shooting. Smaller long range targets, smaller longer range pistol shots. Not run and gun. Much more of a technical 3-gun style than a run and gun 3-gun style. Everybody, I like to shoot all different kinds of matches. I don't want to shoot the same kind of match every time. So I like to shoot a Florida multi-gun match and then come shoot a match like this. Other than that, I would put in the same category as the Florida match. If you're in the region, Florida, the Carolinas, Tennessee, Alabama, and obviously Georgia, I would put it on your radar. I think it's worth it to come in for the weekend. Macon is not an expensive town. You're 20 minutes from the range. I think it's worth it to come in for the weekend. Is it worth flying in from the West Coast or Colorado? Probably not. Joe Farewell was signed up for this match, and he sponsored it. I didn't go through the sponsors. He sponsored it, but he moved to California, so he didn't fly in for the match, right? Yeah, so that's kind of my thoughts on the match. Shaw Barrels was the title sponsor. I don't know if I said that in the first video. I'll put something in there if I didn't. But yeah, great match. A lot of good dudes out there. Great volunteer crew, great RO crew, and them being under the Memorial Valor umbrella and donating helps them raise a lot of money. So yeah, definitely if you're on the this thing sells out in a day or two. So definitely if you're in the southeast parts of the United States or East Coast, put this on your radar for the next couple years. All right, that's my third video of the day. I've been talking for almost an hour. Good night, YouTube.